So Latinos and Latinas, my people, finally get a big splashy Hollywood film musical thanks to Lin-Manuel Miranda. And you're telling me you can't find a single Latin American director to take this on? You have to go to John Chu, the guy who ruined Gem and the Holograms? I loved Gem and the Holograms as a kid. Come on, there's gotta be a great Hispanic director out there. Wait a minute. I'm a great Hispanic director. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Justin Coloma. I'm a Peruvian American film director as well as a film scholar. I love movies. I love talking about movies. And today I'm talking about the film In the Heights, which was originally conceived by Lin-Manuel Miranda as a Broadway musical and has recently come out as a film directed by John Chu. Why did I want to talk about this film? Many reasons. First of all, I'm a huge Lin-Manuel Miranda fan. I reviewed Hamilton when it came out on Disney Plus last year. On top of that, I'm also a huge musicals fan, and I've noticed a big resurgence in the musicals genre in recent years. I feel like films like The Greatest Showman, Hamilton, West Side Story is being remade, High School Musical is being revived as a Disney Plus series, which is excellent. So the musical genre, I feel like, is having a moment, and In the Heights is very much part of that moment. As a Peruvian American living in America, I feel very much a sense of kinship with all Latin Americans, even if, you know, the Mexican experience, the Puerto Rican experience, the Cuban experience, they're all very different than my experience. There is a certain thread that ties us all together, I believe, probably due to the fact that we were colonized by the Spanish kingdom and have some of those cultural elements ingrained in us. So anything that elevates and represents Latin culture, I'll have an interest in. And so I was very interested to see this film. And also, like I said, a huge fan of Lin-Manuel. I know almost every word of Hamilton by heart. And I wasn't that familiar with this work of his. So I kind of wanted to go into it blind. I kind of didn't want to listen to the album and learn all the songs. I wanted just to go and see what it was all about, totally blind, to get the full experience. And I did. So I watched the film last night with my kids at the movies, which was a great experience. As you all know, because of the COVID-19 lockdowns, we haven't been able to go see the movies in a very long time. It's great being back at the theater to watch a movie the way films are intended to be viewed, in my opinion. It's nice to be able to watch films at home, don't get me wrong. And it's cool to be able to watch things on your phone or on a tablet. But ultimately, if you want the true cinematic experience, nothing beats going to the theater, in my opinion. Being in a crowd of people with your popcorn, your ice cream, and just sitting in one of those seats and having a massive screen with an amazing sound system. That's really how films are intended to be viewed. So I had to go see this movie in the theater. First of all, what is In the Heights? In the Heights is essentially a love letter to a neighborhood in New York called Washington Heights, or Washington Heights, like they say in the film, which is apparently a predominantly Latin American neighborhood with folks from origins like the Dominican Republic, Cuba, Puerto Rico, many other Caribbean nations, as well as maybe Mexico and South American nations as well. So it's the story of a place and an ensemble of people, and each one of them has their own dreams. And it's about how they all try to reach their dreams together in different ways. So the protagonist of the film, portrayed by Anthony Ramos, is a young man by the name of Uznavi, and he is from the Dominican Republic who moved to America with his father, and his father has since passed. So he has a dream of going back to Dominican Republic, buying back his dad's old drink stand, I think it is, on the beach, and having this idyllic beach life in Dominican Republic. And the film is told in flashbacks, so he's at the beach already, telling the story to these little kids. So you're pretty much led to believe throughout the whole film that his dream has come true, that he has moved back to Dominican Republic and reclaimed his birthright and is now living out his dream life. What Uznavi is going to learn is that really his dream is to create a life in his home of Washington Heights. So if you were to sum it up in one trite phrase, the theme of the film is there's no place like home. But it's a lot more than just that. There's many other characters whose arcs you follow through the film. There's his love interest, which is a nail technician named Vanessa. And then there are his two best friends, Benny and Nina, who have an on and off, on again relationship because she was an overachiever who ended up going to Stanford, and he's like a dispatch that works for her dad's cab company. So it's kind of like this Robert Altman-esque interwoven storyline where you follow these people's lives in a very granular sense, and it's all about the details, which is beautiful. The way it's written is really beautiful, and in fact, it's called out in the script. There's a grandmother character, Abuela, who isn't anyone's grandma in particular. She kind of adopted the whole neighborhood as hers, and she takes care of everybody. And, you know, she always talks about how, as immigrants, they have to find dignity in small things, in the details. And there's a beautiful moment where she's showing these embroidered napkins and as being an example of that. So I really liked that. The way the story was written, I thought was very masterful. These characters are beautiful. They felt like real characters that I understood and could relate to. And I thought the cast was phenomenal. In particular, I'm gonna call out Melissa Barrera as an absolute star. Another actor I super enjoyed was Gregory Diaz, who played Usnavi's younger cousin, Sonny. He was amazing. I think he's got a super bright future as well. But everyone else was awesome. And Lin-Manuel does a bit part as well as a street vendor who sells piraguas, which is essentially snow cones. And he's great, of course. And I think originally on Broadway, he was the lead of the show. But now, as an older man, he gave the lead to Anthony Ramos, who's younger and more appropriate for the role. So I thought the cast was phenomenal, and I truly, truly, truly loved the songs and lyrics. Again, it shows what a genius Lin-Manuel is at his craft. All the songs were so clever, witty. They were so efficient at storytelling and giving you all these sides of these characters. Just masterful work and absolutely a joy to watch. Now, the film itself, I felt was good. I will say there were moments for me specifically that were a bit cringe. I feel like John Chu is a little corny as a director. I know that's kind of not a nice thing to say, but that's just my opinion. I know Crazy Rich Asians was a hugely successful film and a film that people were very happy about because long overdue representation to Asian Americans. But I kind of honestly thought it was just kind of a mediocre rom-com. And I know I'll probably get roasted for that. Whatever, like rom-coms are cool, not my favorite genre, but I thought it was a decent movie. And again, I thought he did a decent effort in this film. I thought some of the scenes totally worked. But honestly, some of the scenes for me were pretty cringy. In particular, there's a scene where like Benny and Nina are doing a musical number at the dispatch center. And it did not feel genuine enough or magical enough. It's kind of in this weird in-between where it just didn't land. There's also a very strange musical number with the Abuela, which I'm sure landed really hard with some people, but had moments where it's just bordered on camp. And I think it came down to the direction because the songs are beautiful. The lyrics are incredible. Like Lin-Manuel gave gold to this director to work with. And I just think the material could have been executed better. And also on a kind of more like tangential note that doesn't have to do with the film itself, but rather the studio behind the film. I feel like it's a little strange that you're putting together this homage to Latin Americans, and you couldn't find a Hispanic director to take on this film. I mean, John Chu's an accomplished director, clearly has the resume to do this job and has the skills and probably a great guy to work with, but there has to be a qualified Latin American director out there that could have knocked this out of the park. And why not go out and try to find that person? And maybe that person would have given the film a little bit more legitimacy. Maybe that person would have understood some of the nuances of being a Latin American in New York or in America in a way that John Chu hasn't lived and experienced himself. So again, I'm not trying to get too political here because representation is a complicated thing. I think that people of any background should be given opportunities to tell stories about people of any other backgrounds. However, this was such a specific homage and love letter to a specific group of people that I feel like it would have been cool if they had found somebody from that tribe, from that group of people to tell the story. And maybe it's just me being jealous because as a Latin American director, I've never had an opportunity that immense. You know, I mostly do digital work and stuff for YouTube or branded content and stuff like that. But I know there's really talented Latin American directors out there. So back to the film, I thought it was a very good film. I thought that the story was well told. The performances were mostly very solid, with a couple of really, really excellent ones, like I mentioned. And I think it's definitely worth watching. And if you can watch it on a big screen, it's definitely worth your while, because this is a big film. It has big musical numbers, lots of dancers, lots of choreography, and it's just so fun to watch on a big screen. So those are my thoughts on In the Heights. Let me know what you thought about the film in the comments below. Did you think it was a good idea to hire John Chu for this film? What was your favorite song of the film? Who was your favorite actor in the cast? And thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Hope you guys are all doing well, and I hope to be back and talk about more film again soon.